Okay. Good evening, everyone. And a very warm welcome to you all. We are so excited to have you here with us today for this special event, the future of IT, organized by the Computer Society, University of Peradeniya. In today's fast-changing tech world, staying updated is not just important; it's essential. That's why we are invited two amazing professionals who have real-world experience and deep insights into the future of technology. So let me take a moment to introduce our speakers. First we have Mr. Indika Vimalasuriya, Senior Systems Engineering Manager at Virtusa. With years of experience in managing enterprise level systems, Mr. Indika brings valuable knowledge in cloud computing, system design and emerging tech trends. And next we have Mr. Manoj Dharmarathan, Senior Software Engineer at 99X. He is passionate about innovation and AI and has worked on impactful projects that shape the software industry in Sri Lanka and beyond. So we are truly honored to have them both with us today. Throughout this session, we will dive into exciting topics like AI, cloud computing, and the skills you need to stay ahead in your career. So I encourage everyone to stay tuned, be active in the chat, and make the most of the opportunity. So once again, thank you for joining us. Let's get started and deep into this future of IT together. So over to you, Indika.
Thanks, Tarak. Tarak, can you enable access to share?
Yes, sure. I will give you the host. I think now it's okay, right?
Yeah, I'm able to share now.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, everyone. So I hope you guys are able to see my screen. So
Yeah,
just
we
to
can
make
we
it
can
start,
see the screen.
yeah. So like when Tarak said, so we are here to kind of tell you what's going to happen in future and how the future is IT is going to change and how it's going to impact. It's a very difficult task, right? And just to be honest, right, 30 minutes back, Manoj and myself had a chat about all our presentations and so we had a catch up in the morning, but just before this, even we were telling that it's very difficult to project our careers as well. So I kind of like been here for around now 19 years. So Manoj is maybe around 4 years now, 4 5 years in the industry. So even for us, it's a little challenging, right? Like trying to understand what's going to happen, how should we adapt. So it's kind of like a uncharted water for everyone, right? It's something common for I think all of us. So here, what we are trying to focus is maybe like Manoj and myself, we both believe like maybe challenge for you is little harder than us, right? Because you are trying to get into the industry, and some reason there's a major change happening the way we work at IT, right? With generative AI, agentic AI. So today, what we are going to discuss is what are the opportunities, right? Maybe what we thought is let's look back, right? Maybe 2 years back, if you get into the industry, how the industry was looked like and what are the opportunities maybe you can get into and how that has changed now. So our core thing is like just to present you what are the opportunities probably now in the industry and also show you that what are the challenges, and then obviously regardless of the Gen AI evaluation, you still have to have some fundamental basics. You had to kind of you can't just get a job with AI, right? Like I think we all can agree on that, but you still have to have some basics, and you have to ensure that your career you will in advance you plan and you acquire some of the other skills as well, and then you can see how you can navigate this, right? So just to start, so these are kind of like roles, right? Like I mean, if you are getting into industry few years back, uh, obviously, I'm sure, most of you, right, more than 50% of you might get into software development, software engineer kind of roles where you will get into coding and you will get into designing, developing, and doing your testing, like from a developer perspective. So that is kind of like majority of what you guys will be doing. And then I'm sure, based on my experience being an undergraduate at that time, even we had some people who are very good at coding, but they still thought like maybe I can be a quality assurance engineer. Or maybe some people think I'm not good at coding, but let me be QA, right? Maybe that's a good career for me, right? Maybe I have a good eye on testing and kind of like ensuring the quality of what's being produced. So yeah, so that's again a very interesting. That there are a lot of opportunities as well. So I know a lot of people has done a lot of major career achievements being around QA, right? Like there are some people who's now CEO who has been joined as a QA engineers, being promoted to as like senior roles and have their the open companies as well. So then like the next one is like there are other people like who kind of like outside this both buckets, right? And then they think like I'm very good at English, I can understand domains, like I understand how systems are kind of like the requirements and those other area. So they might go into business analyst level. uh, so obviously English and communication is very important, right, if you want to get into that area. But there are now opportunities now that's again clubbed with this data analytics. So I believe like this percentage is growing, right? So if you ask me, uh, these days it's very difficult to find internships in Colombo, right? Like it's difficult, right? But I have still seen there are a lot of internship opportunities for data science, AI engineers, like those with that area, right? So there's definitely a growing area, right? And then there are other areas, right? Like I personally know Manoj, and maybe Manoj started his career, and I think his one of his first project was ServiceNow, right? Like ServiceNow is a kind of like a COTS product. ServiceNow, the big ServiceNow, Salesforce, Pega, those are COTS products, and so they have their own market, right? ServiceNow is more of like IT service management. Salesforce is more of like business. The sales kind of management,
Mm.
and Pega and them are more rapid, like so.
Yeah, first like when I'm starting in the service now developer, then after like 6 months and 8 months, I changed my development stuff with like a full stack engineer. So I continue that as a full stack engineer for 4 years experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and the idea is that like so the traditional development takes time, and that's why these sports products like the products has come in, and if you are being in this area, the career growth is much faster, right? And just to be honest, like it's much faster, and even salaries are better, right? And that's typically what we have seen, right? Like so that's again a good opportunity, but again it's only few people who get into this. And then we have the DevOps, SRE, cloud engineers around 10-15%. So there are that kind of opportunities. And then network, cybersecurity. So there are like, there are quite a lot of graduates coming from dedicated network engineering or cybersecurity degrees these days. And there are others coming from the fundamental, the computer science. And this is again an area, right? Like I'm sure like, this will also grow. And data science, AI, ML role, it's like increasing rapidly. And then obviously the project management and other roles, right? So these are kind of like the opportunities in the market. And what we have seen is that it's not a good news, right? Like with the generative AI and agentic disruptions, traditionally how we work in these areas changing rapidly, right? So example, if you look at software engineering, probably like maybe 30 to 40% of those opportunities might go away soon, right, with agentic AI, right? So just to tell you, uh, maybe if I ask you, right, like what do you want to be, most of you will tell like I want to be a software engineer, right? And then if I ask you like, okay, so what are you planning to do, you say I'll be a part of a project, maybe I'll do a design, or maybe I'll get the design, and on top of that I'll do the development, right? So it's to develop the code, right?
Yeah, I also add some word for that. Like when you are be a software engineer, you do. I think you know no need to depend on the agentic AI. So if you have the strong technical depth, like some kind of data structure, some kind of system designing, and solid code practices, I think. But in nowadays, the agentic AI is getting powerful, but focusing on the core fundamentals and the some kind of problem solving skills, it make you harder to replace.
Yeah. So make you harder to replace, but the challenge is like when you're
Mm.
getting it. If you are trying to apply as a junior developer,
Mm.
it will be little hard because how the industry is changing is this, right? So it's only the
Mm.
software engineers or the developers who is actually involving the hands-on legwork work, right? But if you ask a let's say uh, civil engineer, right? Like civil engineer who design buildings and like maybe design a building with around 100 floors, he's nowhere close to kind of like the even the site, right? He may be in a AC room, like he will do the design, he will do a lot of planning and other thing. Then he will hand it over to the other people. They will expand this, and then there will be like people who actually use the bricks, cement, and who actually develop this building, right? So civil engineers not being involved actual development of that entire building, right? But the software industry was different. Like software engineers are kind of like the people who actually design and then been building as well, right? So this is going to change, right? So the way industry is going, some of this work will be taken by agentic AI. Maybe Manoj is going to touch like part of when he's going through detail into this area. Even Copilot, you can assign a story or PR in the Jira to Copilot, where Copilot can kind of like start doing some work, right? It will be 24 by 7 agent, like, who's not going to take a break, who's good at all the tech stack, right? I mean, because they have been trained on that. So it's going to be very challenging, right? So you'll have to think of how you can add more value, right? If you want to be a software engineer and developer, so it has to be something beyond, right? This agentic AIs can provide, right? So this area will be challenging, right? Like we personally think like around 32%, 40% of the opportunities will die down, right? When the agentic AI is rising, and QA and test area is like if I mean if you I mean I don't want to discourage you anyone, but if you want for QA, it's almost dying, right? Like because already we have the test automation. It's only
Mm.
few people involved in developing this area. So and this is the area where AI can do a lot of work, right? So this is a kind of like, so if you want to get in, it's fine, right? Like still this area there are a lot of opportunities, but it's only for few people, and you still have to know how to use AI, right? So business analysis, data analytics, it's still kind of like it's a declining, but maybe still have some opportunities, right? So Salesforce, ServiceNow, this area. So this is again an interesting area, right? Example ServiceNow, right? ServiceNow developers are highly getting paid, right? Like that's one of the like areas where still there's so much of opportunities. But ServiceNow, Salesforce are having their own agentic experience, where if a Salesforce agent or engineer or ServiceNow engineer used to take around, let's say, 3 days of work, the agent can kind of like now automate it by within like maybe around 1 hour, right? Even less than that. So that's again a challenging area, right? Like you have to understand that's again agents are coming in, right? So DevOps SR is again you still the one area like some area like still it will take bit of time for agents to come in is you still need to coordinate with multiple people, right? Like the coordination aspects of developers, the business analysis and the business and provisioning infrastructure and all those things are involved. So this is a place where I mean, you still have some room. Agents has to still have to be little more advanced to get in it, but standard operations, right? If the L1 or like in the call center teams who are supporting standard desk support and teams are who's doing like standard infrastructure provisioning, that's will be have challenge, right? So example, infrastructure provisioning is already using code now, right? Either Terraform or CloudFormation, or like you have Pulumi and other thing. So maybe we can ask agent to write a code and then agent can execute it and kind of like do it much faster, right? So again, opportunities are dying down. So then if you look at network cybersecurity area,
Mm.
it's not that impacted, but still there are areas where agents and AI is kind of like taking up the opportunities. So areas we have seen higher demand, right? It's data, AI, ML, and AI related work, right? And it doesn't mean that there are no like I mean we are not going to scare you and say like there are no opportunities and jump into AI, but the whole idea is to tell you is that these existing roles has to learn to work with AI now, right? So if you are a developer, you have to know how to use AI now, right? Maybe you are good at one technology area, but with AI now you can kind of have a basic understanding of many technical stacks,
Mm.
and then you can use AI to kind of like amplify you, right? Maybe you can get AI to side of like if it took you around 1 day to write a particular program now, maybe with AI support you can do it within couple of hours, right? Maybe 2 hours, right? So you had to know AI to use it, and it's not kind of like just blindly using AI and asking the question from ChatGPT, give me this code and you deploy and see.
Mm.
You have to know the fundamentals. You have to know how to use it, and when they and especially troubleshoot, right? AI will have challenge like in case if it hit issues, right? Is still most of my day-to-day issues I'm encountering, ChatGPT is able to help me around maybe 50 to 60%, but 40% of the issues I still have to spend some time and kind of like troubleshoot, recreate, and maybe use
Yeah.
documentation to fix it.
Uh, yeah, and also when you were seeing like ChatGPT, Git Copilot, and there's some cursor ID, and when you are using those things and try to understand the complex error, what they ChatGPT also GitHub Copilot mentioning, just not when you are doing those things, no need to need to copy and paste. Just try to understand what is the context about that. Then need to be have like have the knowledge about the what you are doing, like yeah, within AI.
Any questions, anyone? Okay, so you guys can feel free to interrupt, right? Like we don't have any flow. Like feel free to interrupt and ask from any language if you want. But idea is this, right? So AI is fortunate. You maybe you must be lucky, right? Like you can use AI, and AI will kind of like really enable you to amplify what you know, and then you can kind of like get into this field.
Nice.
And don't think like there's a disadvantage. Probably all of you, Manoj and myself, are in the same level, right? Like because we are all trying to adapt into AI, right? Maybe the only difference is maybe we get to know things much faster, or maybe we are start using it much faster because our customers are pushing, right? So everywhere I personally go. So if you are doing a pre-sale, right? If you are trying to go and try to do a renewal of a contract, right? And if you are I mean, even if you are trying to give thought leadership, it's the question is always, are you using AI, and how can we use AI, right? What benefit can we bring in with AI, right? And uh, and some people are saying like, I mean, can we how much cost reduction we can achieve with AI, right? And there are some customers saying, I don't mind, don't reduce my cost, right? Like maybe you keep that to you, right? But improve it, amplify it, right? So if my system used to handle around, let's say, like 100 orders per hour, make it 200, right? And like it allow me to increase my revenue, right? And you get the benefit out of what you are getting from AI, right? So AI is everywhere, right? It's like I think like one thing is like even in your CV, when you are maybe when you are applying to new opportunities in future, you might have to show them that like how you are kind of like trying to align with AI, right? So how are you developing your career to align to AI? How in your projects, right? So example, when we are trying to interview people, especially the fresh undergraduates to our companies, we are looking at what hands-on work they have done, right? Like so, what was your final year project, right? Whether it was a good project, how you use the tech stack, how you interpret the problem, and all those things, right? And maybe now you have a challenge to ensure that you use some degree of AI into that. So like you use some of these AI models, and you have to think outside the box to embed AI into that, because people will start looking at you, right? And from AI perspective, right? So idea is that if you want to get into software industry is going to change to AI service in the related industry, right? So everything is based on AI, right? And everything will happen using AI. And like it or not, you will have to be someone who is good at AI, who is able to deliver things using AI. So if no questions, Manoj will take it up. So he will go through more into detail, right? Like more into
Mm.
detail of aspects and how, what, like obviously, right? Maybe we think like you are looking at, okay, what are the tech stack I should be focused on? What should I learn? What should I focus on? And how to get to know these things. So we will now go into more little more detail on each aspects as well. So over to you, Manan.
Yeah, thank you, Indika. So I think the foundation is the core technical skills when you are starting your career as a software engineer or as a fresher or as a IT professional. So, so let's dive into the front end development. Can you move to the next slide? Okay, thank you. So, front end development is all about user interface and also interactive and responsiveness, visual appearing. So in the there's like there's some kind of framework, React, Angular, and also Vue. I just mentioned that the next step is I think this also we can use on the React as well. And also when you're talking about the React and Angular, especially it's popular to building application in industry level as like enterprises and startup environment. So and when you're talking about the React also, so you need to understand the basics things on React as well. Uh,
Mama.
and also identify when you are working, when you are starting to learning React. I think you need to important things like you need to understand what is the virtual DOM and some kind of hooks and some kind of state management, and also you need to you can use some tools like Redux and Context API and some kind of component lifecycle JSX and some kind of routing on React. And in terms of that, we have Angular. In Angular's other hand, so it's a complete framework offering everything out of the box, and there's a powerful template uh, templating and some kind of dependency injection, and also they have some so many features on Angular as well. So I think when you are learning these kind of things, you can use like AI. Previously Indika got mentioned, so you can use ChatGPT to understand what kind of scenario, so you can get the idea what is the theoretical aspect of area and each and individual. And also when you are like I think when you are learning these frameworks, I think you don't need to skip the fundamentals. Like you need to understand the JavaScript and some kind of CSS, HTML, or just and also for things. And also, I think, in my opinion, you should understand some ECMAScript, like JavaScript, defined behind in the JavaScript, like some kind of let constants and also some try catchers like await kind of things. So once you have the solid foundation about the front end concept, so start I think you must start applying what you have learned to building a real world project. So then you will have confidence about that, and you will improve your skills on preparing a professional for your development work. And also most importantly, try to get help on AI like Copilot. You try to use like extensions like Copilot and ChatGPT, and also you can generate easily the CSS style and the responsiveness style from the Cursor AI as well. In the Cursor AI, you need to give the prompt, and they will design the entire thing, and they not only design the entire thing, and Cursor will follow the what are the best practices and what things need to be done and what are not. They will mention in the Cursor AI as well. I think the Cursor AI you can download, and that's also ID. You can so use that. And apart from that, we can go to the next slide, Indika. Is
Yeah.
there any question?
So just to add, like, so I have seen like there are the XDA is picking it up. So a lot of customers
Yeah,
now
yeah,
move
yeah.
this.
With
So
React and Nest.
yeah, so focus on
Next.
that. Yeah. So I think what Manoj mentioned here is the most important thing, right? Like it doesn't matter, like I mean, we might throw you different tech stacks and those things, but doesn't mean that you should know everything, right? You should be always good at one, and then have some high level understanding of the others. whole idea is that, so when you go to interview, you just have, maybe who knows, right? Maybe tomorrow, the next 6 months, there's something new coming in, and that's the most happening thing. And in the interview, you ask like, maybe, I mean, it's not that you don't know, but you have to answer. It's like, yeah, I did all my work with Angular, so I know in and out of Angular, and I have some understanding of this X new thing, and obviously I can kind of like learn it quickly and start
Mm.
working, right? So
Yeah,
that's the
yeah. Once you master, like example, when you master Angular, so you can learn the fundamentals of React by using some like ChatGPT. Then you can get the idea about them. It will be help for your interview. So when the interviewer asks like, is there, if you are knowing like React, so you have the idea, the basic idea you have because of you learn and that. But you don't have the practical knowledge, but you have the basic knowledge on that. Yeah.
okay.
So like yeah, and I think I need in the backend development. So I think we have like like four framework like .NET Core, Express, and Nest, and also Spring Boot. In, and also when you are like when you're talking about the .NET Core is a powerful like platform like framework ideal for scalable API and some enterprise grade. So I think in there, the earlier also I mentioned some. You need to understand the dependent injections, some kind of middleware, some pipelines, and how the high performance do things. And also like talking about the like Express.js, I think Express is like you can develop it. Express is in Node and Node. Like you need to know about some kind of like REST API, and it's like a flexible. So if you are choose like you are willing to develop in like a mean stack, so I think Express is a mandatory framework. So you can use that on within JavaScript or TypeScript. So you need to use some necessary dependencies and packages for there for building your application. And also Nest.js. So if you are familiar in Angular, I think pretty sure to easily grab the Nest as well. So because Nest also the modular architecture, and also there are some declarators and modulity dependency as well, and also Nest like also TypeScript first. So when you are starting your front end in Angular, I think it is easy to understand the core skills in the Nest as well. So I think if you are just starting your career as a software engineer, my also Indica also mentioned earlier, I think you need to know, no need to know about all the things. You need to master one framework at a time. So after master one framework, just focus on that and build some API and identify some authentication authorization and techniques, some kind of DJWT, and also database integrations and some kind of principles, and how to write clean code on the backend development, and some kind of like server side logic. I think this will be help for your backend knowledge, and it will also help you the like interview aspect, and you can get a proper job because of you are mastering a one framework within a one time, and you are building a strong project from that and adding a feature for that. And also use some ChatGPT, Copilot, and also use some Cursor AI to understand the complex error. Because of the in when I am starting my career, I pick as Express days, and like I need to search in the Google. So some errors are I am getting more than 2 days to find like complex errors. But now I think we can use the ChatGPT and Copilot. It's very easy to find an error to fix and understand what you are doing, and always trying to search why it's happening. So if you have any error, just no need to skip. Just understand why it's happening and how to solve. And do you have any other aspect area for fixing this, or is there any best practices? So when you are applying in the like just copying a exception and put into the chat GPT, it will tell you the error and the error how you need to fix. But first identify is there any proper like a best practices? How do we add like in your so when we example like when you are managing, like if you have any errors in the like exceptions in your project, so like you are making a hard code for there. Just ask, is there any way to do like common places to store those exceptions and return those errors like errors. So then ChatGPT will help you that, and it is easy to understand those things, and you will master the backend level as well. Yeah, and also we have. Can you? If there is there any question? So
Sorry to interrupt you. I think you
yeah,
start your .NET developer, right?
yeah, .NET and Express. Yeah,
Express, and then you move into the other like Next.js and Angular and
yeah,
those.
yeah, and also I just started my career as Angular, and after that, just after mastering the Angular, then after that, I just started in React, and also the backend, I just started .NET and Express. Once I'm doing the .NET, I just doing like both framework. After that, I just started in the .NET Core and then Express, and now currently start doing some Nest as well.
Yeah. So what we I have seen is that there's all. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities because a lot of people are still into Java stack and
Yeah, yeah,
JS system.
and
So .NET.
also like I think. If you can choose .NET, I think it is like there is also large community base because of Microsoft. I think there has like a good job demand on the .NET Core, and also as well so Express as well.
Yeah. So just to kind of be clear, right? It doesn't mean that like so what we are meaning is what we have seen is that there's less people with skill, right? So when
Mm.
customers come to us and say like so it's going in .NET and come up with
Mm.
that tech stack, it's little difficult to find that people
Mm.
with that skill set, right? But you can still find few more people with like the JS and Spring Boots
Mm.
and other things, but
Mm.
doesn't mean like especially like I personally like there are new projects we are starting in all four, right? Even though
Mm.
like SJS, Next.js seems to be the most happening thing. And
Mm.
just to add one more thing to one of this about microservices, right? Like so,
Yeah, 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 yeah,
understanding of some microservice understanding, it's fine, right? Like you have to have
yeah,
that
yeah.
theory
Yeah,
understanding.
you have to have that theoretical knowledge of the microservices, and how they implementing, and how the services are structured, and how the things are going.
Yeah.
And also I mean, today for developer, the AI is like a 24 hour 24 like 7 like 24 backend mentor for your life. So in any time you can ask in question, then they will provide the feedback for your development. Yeah, so we can go to the is there any question, or else we can go to the next slide, so we can talk about like database. So in the database, I think we as an engineer, as you are after you are graduate, after you are working as an engineer, so I think you need to know about SQL or NoSQL databases. So starting with like relations database, we have like MySQL, PostgreSQL, and MSSQL. So like when you are developing in a .NET Core for your universities, like start like projects and for your
Huh?
personal growth, I think if you can
Huh?
pick MSSQL and
මොනවාද? නෑ ගේන්න
for
ගියා.
development, and learn some kind of complex join, some transaction and relationship, some kind of indexing, how to data migrate, and also talking about like when you are choose Merge or Me, I think you need to pick MongoDB within the Mongoose. So it's a popular database in the modern web, and also you can try out that as well. And also, when you are doing like ExpressNet as well, you have the ORM, like object relation mapping. So you can use like type ORM, some kind of Prisma, and also .NET Core. When you are .NET, you are focusing on .NET. I think my opinion is you need to know about the entity framework. What are the entity framework, and how to work these kind of things, and it would be helpful understanding a strong level of idea about the database and the database thing. And also you can now we can like generate and explain the SQL query and MongoDB query for the like chat from the AI, and you can get a proper queries and from that, and like some kind of normalization and like data schemes. And I think this will be help for your project for the database level. Yeah. Is there any question in like database level? I think we have chat also.
There's a question called Manoj, like isn't Django famous among the back in stack in the
Yeah,
industry?
yeah. Also you are you if you are starting as a Python, so I think Django is a good framework. So I think you need to master on that as well. That also you have so much so like opportunities.
I think the summary is like your data is everything, right? Like I mean, the software has to
Mm.
run unless you have good data. So I mean, it seems boring, right? Like the database subjects
Mm.
are always boring
Yeah,
subjects, right?
yeah, yeah,
It comes and say
yeah.
like normalization and the tree structure. How are you going to extract
and
data?
and
But
indexing stuff and functioning
indexing
and kind
stuff
of thing.
and yeah, so it might be like
But some
meaningless. Like
students are more favorite part is database other than that. So
yeah.
they are mastering those kind of things and they started to do like a data engineer kind of thing. So they need to know about those database levels.
So the why it's important is it's a one different thing. You create a project with like maybe you only have like 100 records in your database, but if you have a system where let's say like you start adding like millions billions of records, right? Like during a period of time, your database getting slowed down. The how fast we can extract response out of running queries and those things. So those are
Mm.
very important, right? Because
Yeah.
database is key, right? So having a good and another thing is I have seen like I'm not involved, right? When generally I'm off like SRE DevOps and the other side, but when my
Mm.
friends are doing a lot of interest into development, they look at people who's having database type, right? So the idea is that if you know database, then you know the implementation and other things, right? So that's how the brain work. You
Uh,
have to that if it's not front end and service and data,
mm.
it's always data and then the service data layer and then your front end layer.
Mm.
Okay,
And
so
also, and also when you're coming to interview, so you are coming as a full stack engineer or software engineer. I think you need to know about the queries like join, inner join, outer join kind of thing. So I think those things are mandatory. So most of the interviews are asking how to do a join kind of things. I think these need to be known about. Yeah, yeah. The versioning control, I think versioning control is essential is for every developer. So I think you need to know about some kind of how to make Git, like Git branching and merging stuff, and how to make separate branching, and some kind of Git commands, like kind of Git merge, Git rebase, and Git pull, and and also naming the branches. And like when coming to the branching namings, in like we need to make a proper naming. Like if we like we need to name like if you are working in a task or task forward slash ID number, so then it will proper ID identify this task is this related branch. So you need to know about that. And also you can study these things like we have like GitHub, GitLab, and some Bitbucket. Try to make pull requests and make your code from there, push the code through there, and make separate branches for each and individual for your every task, and push there and make pull request and assign to someone else, and also review from there. And also one thing in the Copilot, I think they also reviewing the pull request, and you will have a clear comments on that and what need to fix and what not. And also we no need to get pull for the local branch from if we are making sign for reviewing the Copilot, we can resolve those like errors from their aspect. And also identify like kind of you can kind of things like you can use Git in your like Visual Studio Code as extension like GitLab, and also Git Kraken, so viewing the history. I think if you know if you know the Git versioning control things, you are able to you have the fundamental, the core skills and the front end and the back end and the database and the versioning control. I think you can start your career from
Career.
that by using with ADI as well.
So one thing to add to this is,
Mm.
uh, like your Git profile is now your new profile, new CV, right? So
Mm,
when you
mm.
are giving CVs to the companies, and when you are looking for opportunities, like gone are the days where, like, people will look at your CV and what you have done, but they might be more interested to go into your Git profile and try to figure out what projects you
Yeah,
have.
and when you're making a project, try to push into the Git repositories and just and try to make the complete project. So when there some companies when download those projects, they are reviewing the code, what you have done and what not. So I think just like push those create or repository proper projects, and I think if you are actively member on the GitHub, like collaboration, some kind of things, I think there's a green color dot in your box. I think it's a great contribution. Sorry, the contribution, and
The whole
they
idea is that this, right? Like, so I mean, assume that, like, if one of you in first year, and
mm,
you can't wait until third year and maybe like 3 months time, I'm going to get out and then let me put some things in. So we can go into the Git and see your contribution for last 3 years, 2 years, one last 6 months, whether you have been, like, putting things regularly, or you are just trying to do it, like, as a one off to, show around, right? So,
mm,
having a consistent grid profile is very important, right? It's not just you are, like, 10, 20 projects, but you have been contributing in a, like, a consistent way, right? And
mm.
especially if you are looking for opportunities outside Sri Lanka, it's a must, right? Like, I mean,
Yeah,
they
yeah,
look at, when
they
people
are.
are screening, right, Manoj? Like,
Mm.
they don't screen your CV, they screen
Yeah,
your
yeah,
file.
yeah. Exactly. So they are looking the GitHub and the projects and the some kind of contribution, what he contribute for so far. So I think it's good. Yeah, when it comes to the tools and practices, I think if you don't know the core technical skills, I think when you are starting your journey, just start don't start with the CI/CD
So that
pipelines.
to, sorry to interrupt you, man. So I think our idea was, so
Mm.
those are the fundamentals, right? Like, you
Yeah,
should
yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah,
you should know
yeah.
the services, should know
Mm.
the backends and front end and those things. So,
Mm.
and like, Manoj was telling me, like, so don't get into other stuff before you get to know the fundamentals, right, Manoj?
Yeah, 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 exactly. So first you need to understand the fundamentals. Then after that, you can learn about the CI/CD pipelines and how it's working. So then I think when it's come to the CI/CD pipeline, so CI/CD pipeline like so most impactful things in the modern software development like CI/CD. So CI means like continuous integration and CD is like continuous deployment. So continuous integration is like every time in the organization we every time type make pushes and make PRs and it's automatically build and test and it will help to it will help to identify earlier bug for the reducing the integration issues. So and also continuous in deploy means like a tech further store making code automatically deploy to the production and stage environment, that kind of things. I think you need to know about these CI/CDs, and then you have some kind of Git. If you have in the GitHub, you can have the GitHub action. So maybe you can make like some kind of code quality jobs on there for your project, and also Jenkins, and also in you are using Asia pipeline or Asia pipeline. So in the Asia pipeline, we can make build pipeline in the production pipeline and some kind of stages on there. But I think you can learn these kind of things from you use like ChatGPT also. So you need to understand like there are some kind of videos on YouTube, and I use some Udemy courses to get idea what is the pipeline, how it's working, and how to.
And the idea is, it's not that, you should do it every day, day in, out, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
just have to know how to create a one pipeline, and you know, like,
Mm,
how to build it, how to integrate maybe the
mm,
other integrations, and how to make the code quality tools, like
yeah. So on a cube kind of things.
you do it once, that's it, right? Like you, and I mean, then you can still explain, like if you get in an interview, someone asks you, you can explain the life
Yeah.
cycle stages, and you can show, that's it, right? You don't have to do it every
Yeah,
day.
yeah. You don't need to know about the depth of that. You need to know about like how you apply for those things to your existing project. That would be great when you're starting as a career. And also we have DevOps and clouds, and also when you're talking about the DevOps and cloud, it's no longer optional for essential for every software engineers in nowadays. I think when it got in starting for cloud provider, I think with AWS is widely used. I think those AWS, I think indicates know about more things about that. And also Asia is like rapidly growth, especially enterprise environment like such as like Microsoft friendly cloud Asia. I think you need to know about those Azure services and how to Azure directly and CI/CD workflows. Just get the idea how it's work. No need to apply and then learn depth on that, because you when you are going to the job interview, you already know the technical skills, front end, back end, and the database and how to version controlling and like you already apply for your GitHub project, some GitHub actions kind of code quality. Then you can tell I have applied. I have applied this kind of things and whatnot. Then they will I understand you have a understanding about these things. Then it would be also help for their right, Indica.
Yeah. So the fundamental thing is this, right? Like, so when you develop, when you come up, when you do this, the front end, the back end, and the data. So you have your system. You have to
Mm.
host it somewhere, right? And the gone are the days where, like, the client have their own data center, so they are obviously in a cloud, right? So it doesn't
Mm.
matter you are banking, financing, whether you have any data security policies, or whether you are in doubt. But now everyone is in cloud, right? So
Yeah,
even the governments are in cloud now, right? So you
yeah.
have to know if the cloud is working. So have just a good understanding of what are the fundamentals. So
Mm.
how each cloud provider is providing the compute, the storage, the networking, and other service. So you start deploying some of these applications there. So you get your hands dirty. So that's one. But one thing I want to tell you is this, right? See, like I mean, before, like maybe a few years back, the idea was that we develop something and then we still need someone to come up develop that infrastructure to host this whatever the developers has developed. But
Mm.
now, but the idea, but it's still, then it's a two side, right? Like you have the developer,
Mm.
you have the cloud, and cloud will be sitting on top of your the sorry, the code is sitting on front of your cloud infrastructure. Now
Mm.
world is moving to serverless, right?
Yeah.
So I'm seeing like a lot of people, they
And
don't
now
really
and
that
also
heavy.
containers like using some kind of Docker and some kind of orchestration with Kubernetes, and I
Yeah.
think
So
this also.
heavily, everything is you write the code in a serverless framework and let the cloud provider decide how to manage it, right? Like you just write
Mm.
the code and say, if I get a request, I will load this page, I'll plugging all those other things, and this is do that. And if you get a, like a 10 requests per second, or if you get around million requests per second, it's not your problem, right? You don't have to worry about that. It's cloud provider's problem. So if you want to start, I feel like serverless, right? Serverless
Mm.
is growing, and it has so much of opportunities, right?
Yeah.
All the existing project, most of the existing projects I know, they are moving to serverless. Why? Because it's just code, right? Like you deploy the
Mm.
code, pay as you go, right? I mean, if you get around one customer, even now, right? I at this moment I have one POC project where it's with I'm using API gateway, I'm using cloud formation, it's with AWS Lambda, I'm using RDS database,
I
right?
think
And
the similar
I'm not
those
paying
Lambda.
anything.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not paying anything, right? Because when I want, I just do it. I bring it up, I do the testing, and that's it, right? Otherwise, I'll have to have a VM, I'll have to have service. I pay a
Mm.
huge amount of bill, right? Now I use like good 5 6 services, and even when I'm doing some development practicing, I might pay around very small amount, hardly, right? Like even
Mm.
last 2 weeks, maybe I'm just paid around maybe $3, $4. That's it, right? So that's one. So serverless framework, serverless. and anything, any other frameworks to facilitate. Like I mean, if you search, there's something called serverless framework that's have tagged to both AWS and Azure. So that's again a good place, right? That there are a lot of opportunities. And one other big thing, right? Maybe some of you might think like Kubernetes is good, like you have a lot of Kubernetes opportunities. People might say Kube, K8, and other thing, but the ground reality is that when hiring, it's very difficult to
Mm.
get into a Kubernetes role, right? Because everyone is looking. We don't need actually someone who is very fresh to Kubernetes, but we need someone who has handled large scale Kubernetes cluster and has production experience, right? So that's the other part, right? There are some opportunities. It's very difficult to newcomer to get in it, right? Maybe you still get into a Docker Kubernetes, like the DevOps engagement. You learn
Mm.
Kubernetes, you manage, and then you get into those roles. But it's very
අපි
difficult
කන්න
if you
මොනවද
are
දෙන්නේ?
targeting to be around as a fresh graduate.
Yeah,
ආ
yeah. And also, I think, for my opinion, like if they have that proper idea and proper knowledge on that, like proper knowledge, mean not the practical knowledge, or else if you they have the idea how it's work and whatnot, then I think also that good, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And also, in talking about that, I need to add a small about that. Like, I think you need to know about the like kind of infrastructures as code. I think they have in the Asia, the Terraform, some like a Terraform, like Bicep, and some kind of ARF templates. So it will help easy. Like when you are making a deployment, till automatically creating the services and the plans and stuff, and it would be easy. And also, earlier also, Indika mentioned these kind of things are, but if you have that basic ideas how they work, and that's also good for your career level as well. Because when you're starting to do when you are starting your job as a software engineer, or else you are DevOps engineer. So when you are starting to build a bicep or ARM template, so you have the idea because of earlier you learn from that from somewhat. So you can apply those things and you can grow your skills on that infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole idea is that
Mm.
now work has moved into full stack development, right? Like it's
Yeah.
it's not another day where like you have SME doing front end, back end, and infra. So it's like so and other changes. There a lot of projects, right? We used to have like 100, 200 member teams, but now it's very small teams, right? It's small teams doing, and what they do is like they take care of everything from the development to testing to deployment. So it's kind of like full stack work, right? And the operations as well, right? So in that way, like having overall understanding is a very important thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you're talking about the security and testing and security, I think this is also most important part in the software development and software industry because of if there's no security, I think it will be like it's not good for our app. And also, first, every developer should need to know about some kind of unit testing approach, how to write them, how to implement those things. And I think for like when you are doing a JavaScript, like you have the gist as well. And if you are working on the backend as a .NET course, you have like NUnit, XUnit kind of stuff. I think for my opinion, you need to learn that as a like when you are learning in the front end, the back end, just try to learn those as well. So for my opinion, like when you are learning, then if you are running a code, you can check whether my code is running perfectly smooth without any errors and bugs. So you can identify while you are running implementing the jest and XUnit stuff. And when you're talking about like Selenium stuff, I think some kind of automation engineers, QA automation engineers are focusing on Selenium with Java, and also some JMeter and Playwright tool they have. And also we have like no when you are developing the backend development, try to understand the encryptions and how to uh, authentication and authorization like JWT and OAuth, and also uh, like when you are making the code, like when you are doing the code after pushing the changes to your branches, they have like vulnerabilities. So you can use like Sona Cube. And so I think for the fresher, I don't know whether you can at the Sona Cube for free. But if you can get the idea about the what the Sona Cube, how it works, so maybe basically when the Sona Cube, it's help to identify the warning of the our projects and like maintainability code. And if we wrote a code with like example, if we wrote a multiple if statement in our code, then Sona Cube will automatically identify as a warning. So they will give the answer as just use like a switch or otherwise then you can fix and push the game. And also some kind of security vulnerabilities. And also when you can add the Sona Cube for your pipeline, Azure pipeline, so then you will analyze every time you're committed the code, and it will make more clean and more security and more without less vulnerability. Yeah, if you have any question, I can take it up. You can. Do you have any ad for Indika?
I think we can go to these methodologies and workflows, right? So we can quickly cover this area as well, Manoj.
Yeah, yeah. And I think this is also like important part for so like because when you are working with doing a software development, you are working in an organization. So you are working with you are running with like agile and Scrum methodologies, kind of sprint planning, some backlog priority, and also retrospective. I think I know these kind of things are learned from your university level, and you have some basic ideas about that, right? And also like when I know about how the sprints going, like some kind of sprints are 1 or 2, how the sprint planning working, and also daily stand-ups. We have some in the organization. We have some daily stand-ups, and we are telling this is a like a quick 15 minutes meeting, and we are talking what we have done and yes what we have done yesterday, and if they have any blockers for us, some kind of, and also we have some kind of black clock grooming. And so it will review the our task, and it will take the priority task for to work for the current sprint. And also there are some sprint review and retrospective under the sprint review. So we have in the within the 2 week we are making a feature, and we are demonstration that to the our client to what we have done in the sprint review meeting, and also previous iteration what we have done and what we have achieved on that. And also retrospective, uh, talking about like what we went done and what if we have any take to action kind of things, we are discussing about that as well. And uh, you can uh, do things like you can use like Trello, I think
Yeah,
it's
so I think what we are
hello.
trying to say, you might not lose the interview because you don't
Mm,
know. Like, this
mm,
is more
mm,
kind of like important when you get into actual organizations and you are in the project. Whole idea is that you should have a general understand, right? I mean, you
mm,
can't
mm.
completely someone who's not aware of how things are happening.
Like for student, think of like managing a group assignment. Everyone know their task and their deadline, and just the leader will thinking to track stay track on that for the
Yeah.
industry level, to help the adaptability and quickly and collaborate better and delivery fast and work together. Yeah. uh, and I think uh, most important, and also there's most important part is the some kind of like soft skills. We need to have that soft skills things, because of as a software engineer or as a QA or as a BA, you need those communication skills. And because of you are working in the some of the team, and you need to communicate with others, and adaptability. I'm not talking about the communication. So you need to communicate clearly, like whether you are writing a documentation, making a documentation, you need to explain properly on there, because of otherwise, if you are not doing
I
those things,
do,
it will misunderstand,
I
and the if your
so
project will get more bugs.
alive.
And some kind of thing like you need to always need to
Beautiful
make
like
some kind of
diamonds
feedback,
in the sky.
and also discuss. If you have
Okay.
any task related work, if you have any unclear thing, just discuss, like for understanding less, so you discuss and you get the idea about how to do that. And if not, it will harm to your like deadline as well. Yeah, and
And
also
the bottom,
adaptability.
bottom,
Yeah.
yeah, the bottom line is that like it
Mm,
doesn't matter, right? Like you have all those skills which we discussed, but in your interview you are not able to communicate. You are so that I have seen like when we ask people like, okay, tell me about your final year project. Like, yeah, I did those project maybe 3 months back, and they are not able to explain their project. They are not able to explain their requirements. They are not able to do like what. So English is must, right? Like
mm,
that's important. Second one is you. I mean my suggestion is that like wherever possible like try to ensure that you try to improve your communication and be proactive, right?
mm.
Don't be silent,
Just ask answers how that work and how things going, and yeah.
Yeah, so one of the most important thing is like uh, ask questions, right? Like ask questions, challenge people, like and then uh, like get to know. So that is very important because see, end of the day, idea is that maybe you can argue, right? Like maybe if I mean, if I forget about soft skills, I can still get a good job. That's right? Like we both agree, but like your career ladder will be very slow, right? Like someone with the same skill but with more soft skill, they will climb the ladder much faster than definitely you,
Mm.
right? So you will get stagnated at one place if you are not able to communicate. So that's kind of like a very important.
Yeah, and also when you are learning this kind of this, I think learning is the must skill. Otherwise, you are not be able to up to date because of, with the industry level. And also try to like they have so many kind of online platform, Udemy, like free code camp, and also you can join some Stack Overflow community and some GitHub contribution with others project, and some kind of local meetups and some kind of tech talks in, I think in I'll also if you able to contribute and participate and learn in this, you will up to date in the industry level, right? So like if you are, and also like when you are using the Udemy course to learn something else, try to like in the tutor they presenting how to do and doing stuff like just and just identify those things and build your own stuff from that. And also if you have any doubt kind of thing, use ChatGPT, Copilot, use the extension Copilot agent, then it like you can underline the code and just ask what is this meaning, and they will provide the like meaningful answer and how to implement that proper way. Then also then from that also you will get a more learning curve on that. And also always try to ask from your mind why it's happening, why it's working and why it's not working. So from your right, Nidika?
Absolutely, yeah. So it's all about the problem solving, right? Like sometimes I
Yeah.
ask myself question, right? So I was there in Peradini 4 years. So why
Mm,
I spent that 4 years, right? Like maybe, and when we are going through some of the lectures, we ask so why they don't do like programming, right? Full time programming, full time coding, and why we
mm,
go through like the other stuff as well, right? Whole
mm.
idea is that so the software industry is about problem solving, right? Like maybe we can easily find someone to write code, but the idea is
Yeah.
that to solve that problem, can you come up with a innovative solution, right? So that's the
Mm.
most important thing, right? So
And you need to have the curiosity about the what you are doing, right? So and also try to make like like example, just like if you are like a very basic thing for you, it's a first time learning for that, but others it's a very basic thing, but you can make publish like writing an article with a duty or a kind of medium article, then it will improve your skills. So after couple of years, and when you are seeing your articles, and the so many people are engaged on those part articles, and they also learning from you, right? Because I think this industry is always learning and up to date, right?
yeah,
Indra?
absolutely. So we'll
And
kind of
mm,
go to the future trends in IT.
yeah,
We can go
talking
any
about mm,
yeah. So and if you guys have any questions, like feel free to speak, right? Like feel free to interrupt us anytime.
yeah. So talking about AI and ML integration, I think for my for first thing is Python. So you need to know about the Python and basic idea about the Python and how to make application like someone who mentioned about in the chat. Oh, yeah, the Django is a good framework, and also so Django is based on the Python, so you can implement in implementing the ALI integration and some kind of like models training. So start with basic Python and some follow some framework, yeah, TensorFlow kind of PyTorch, and like this will be like help for your growing for the AI also integration, right?
Yeah. The whole idea is like learn the basics, right? That's the
Mm,
most
mm,
important thing. If you see, like, I can remember, like, maybe when ChatGPT came in, one of the first project I did is I used Python, and then I kind of like want to connect with Python to Yahoo Finance and kind of like download the stock price, and then kind of like take all the stock opening price and the day high closing price, and then kind of like use Python to come up with some a solution where can I predict the stock price, right? I mean, you don't really have to know a lot of coding. You can kind of use ChatGPT and get it done. And Python has all the libraries, right? And you can flow like you can like play around like whether I'm going with the linear model or some other model. So you can change the model and see whether outputs are getting improved. But the point is, you should know basics, right? So what you are getting probably during the university time is very important, and even if you think like, okay, let me do MSc in data science AIML, most probably they will cover some of the basics which you are you are learning now, right? So learn basics because those will be kind of really helpful, and also kind of like now example, if you look at AWS has Bedrock. So Bedrock, there are a lot of development going in Bedrock, and then there's a lot of development using OpenAI as well, and then Gemini. So use these models and see, like, come up with your. So there was this one guy like who's kind of like interacting me with Javaradhanpur University. So he recently sent me a link, right? Like, and he's again undergraduate there. So he developed one application. It was very smart, right? Like it was kind of it was to reply to WhatsApp messages, right? So it's like it's you. I mean, it first download the all the your historical messages, fill out some of your the kind of like sensitive data, any other thing, and then it will kind of like create agent kind of experience where once enable, it will reply some sort of messages, right? So those things are very nice, right? Like he's using Gemini and he's using Jupyter notebooks and he's using some of the other things, and so it covers all the basic things, and those are the new projects, right? So new third year projects, new final year projects, and those that is where like world is moving, right? So think about those things, right? So they'll still really add value when you put those into your GitHub, when you put those into your CV, and right after that, right? And I was thinking to tell you this. So then I kind of like search him in LinkedIn, right? Because he's kind of like guy. He's in kind of like your generation, right? And then I saw his LinkedIn profile. He's a aspiring AI engineer, right? Like, and he's still in university. He's promoting, saying, "I'm an AI engineer. I'm doing AI, and his work is AI. He's sharing things with AI, and that is how you build, right? Like, and suddenly you become yourself as a AI person, right? So that's very important. I think, like how you portray yourself.
mm.
And finally,
Yeah.
like maybe I'll touch this area. Like there was one question, right? Like maybe if I want to get into DevOps, SRE, what should I do? What kind of projects I should do? So my experience is all the people I have seen being successful in DevOps SRE are people who has been good developers, right? So idea is that I mean everything is more develop centric, right? Even if you are saying DevOps SRE, idea is it's about engineers, right? It's about builders, right? It's about people who can develop things, right? So I don't think there will be a future. If you are not a good developer, if you are don't have a if you are not enjoying writing code, then most probably you will not be successful in DevOps and SRE as well, right? And that's the full stop, right? It's not that like, because I don't like coding, maybe I'll get into that. That time has passed now, right? Like even everything is moving, it's moving to the direction where you have to be a builder, right? Like we are looking for people who can build. So that's important, right? And as Manoj said, now entire infrastructure is now infrastructure as code, right? It's Terraform, it's Pulumi, it's CloudFormation, and it's about like I do this and how I can replicate this for 100 applications, right? 100
You
then
can manage you can manage with the different stages like you have in your industry, you in the organization, you have, if you have like a stage, and we are not deploying the master brand, because we are making the separate stages like developer stage, and the testing stage, and the stage, and UI stage, and production. So we can mention in the infrastructure code as well, because when you are mentioning the app services, what are not. Yeah.
yeah. So how to get into, like assuming like you still you like it and you also want to get into this area, I suggest you learn cloud, right? You learn cloud,
Mm.
you learn cloud services, you deploy some of the POC applications, right? So if you search for something called AWS workshops in cloud, there are a lot of workshops, and if you are kind of like following their LinkedIn, sorry, you will be able to kind of like get into some of these projects where they will give you some credits where you can use, right?
Mm.
And they will give you some free credits where you can do those experiments. So getting into those things, right? Maybe we'll share some of the URLs, but idea is that get to but be a developer, right? Like be a developer, start from there. I think that's our advice.
Yeah, and one thing I need to mention, like when you are making a Asia DevOps, like it's like everything in a Git, like Asia DevOps, like in the code, there's also infrastructure setup, and all the things are in the one place, and also we can call like it's like a GitOps, like everything in the one place. Earlier mentioned, so also we can use bicep and all the stuff. Yeah, so we can go to the yeah, build and scale project. I think. We like
I
when
think
we
what
are.
I think we already know what we are trying to say. It's
Mm.
like the industry is looking for people who can hands-on develop, right? And gone are the days where like and even previously, right? And we are rejecting a lot of people when they are not able to explain what they did in the, like I did the it does nowadays, like you will not be able to make it at all, right? You had to hands-on develop. And when you
Mm.
are doing now, think about how you can use AI, right? Like it's not only about using AI use like chat gpt, but how you can develop application using chat gpt, right? gpt and AI, right? And aws bedrock, right? So now it's most like everywhere, right? How are we use AI to kind of like sell and get more revenue? So think about those aspects as well. So finally, right, like we want to wrap it up. So what you should do, right, in summary, what we think is a strong foundation is very important, right? So whatever Manoj said about the front end, the back end, and databases, and all those things are very important. Like
And also make sure to, like when you are making scalables and big projects, I think make sure to if you are starting your intern, I think make sure to mention in your CV, in the portfolio, what kind of project you have done, and also you are like an article writer, like mention those things on the CV.
yeah,
Then like.
yeah, so that's very important, right? So what the message is that fundamentals are important, and
Mm.
you will be surprised, right? A lot of interviews they will ask you the fundamental questions, right? Not about like Next.js, Node.js, Angular, and all, but it's still like some basics, fundamental things. Because
Mm.
what we can train people on technology, but what we want is we have a good understanding of the fundamentals, right? And other thing is the problem solving, right? I can remember, right? Like when my first interview, one of the first question was, can I write an algorithm to sort a array, like something in an array, but without using two arrays or something like that, right? Like so, I had to kind of figure it out to uh, come up with those kind of things, right? So lot of questions are problem solving, like focus on do we have the ability of like coming up with some algorithm. So try to solve problems, right? Those are very important things. And then obviously what we are saying is use AI, but learn, right? Like not just use it, but learn how you can develop systems using AI. And obviously, like maybe you can spend some time. Cloud is very important, right? And if you are getting into cloud, my suggestion is be a cloud developer, right? Like get into serverless framework, like get into using serverless and using cloud, so you can be a developer inside the cloud, right? So if you get into any of these AWS or Azure summits and their sessions, they are always promoting cloud developers, right? Not like cloud DevOps or SRE. Yes, obviously it's playing important
Engineering.
role, but developer is even far better, right? And another thing is being able to adapt, right? So what university tells you is semester system is all about like your time, right? Like you have a 3 months small project, you have to day in day out like wake up, go to the project, get the attendance, like you do your assessments, do the mid semester, you do the final semester. So that is the grilling process like we have in industry, right? That will train you to adapt to situations and kind of like do those things. And obviously I can't explain, right? Like communication is very important, right? Like spend time, like brush up your English, start talking to people with English, and English is very important, right? And finally, right, like myself and Manoj will take this because we think this is very important, right? Now itself you will have to build a digital profile, right? Like you have to have
Yes.
a GitHub, you have to have your blog, you have to have your YouTube channel. I mean, if you want to do it, you have to have a brand, right? Like you have to have a technical brand, right? So that guy I told you, he already have a brand, right? Like he already have website. If I go there, I see some projects. If I go there, I see a lot of GitHub projects. He's writing things, he's creating a brand, right? So by the time he's coming up, you will see he's easily able to getting into some AI related opportunities. And other thing is he's able to make a lot of network, right? Relationships, right? Like I mean, he because he goes to he can nowadays my advice is start creating your brand and start hunting your employee now itself, right? Like start creating
And no,
relations.
and also I need to mention like learn new things in every day. I think this also help you to be a good brand as well,
Yeah,
and
and
apply those in the social life.
yeah, and other thing is this, right? So it's not only you, right? Even us personally, right? Like Manoj and myself, we try to learn it something every day, right? Because even we can't survive in industry if we don't learn something new, right? And if we, because end of the day, when we are in front of our customers, they are looking for us to provide the thought technical leadership, right? Where's the industry is heading? What is the new technology that can kind of like cut the cost and kind of like amplify the business and able to build that thing much faster, so customers can take this new idea into the market very quickly, right? So
Mm.
everyone has to learn, right? So there's nothing like you learn and then you stop learning. So you have to learn, but ideas you had to have a digital profile, right? So you
And
had to know.
whether it's a GitHub or like a blog posting or in a Medium, or most of the developers are writing in the Medium, and also there's a good platform in the DYO that's also good. And me and also Indigo also writing
And
articles in
dev
there.
too,
So
and
yeah, yeah, yeah.
good
And
place.
also if you can make some YouTube channel and making YouTube channel and make videos like how to do like this kind of thing, how to build a project, how to what are the key things you know about to build a project, and what kind of area you need to master in the once come to the DevOps kind of things. I think you will automatic once like in a year gradually you will be a brand like on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I think that's it from our side. Like any
Yeah.
questions? And,
Thank you, Indika. Alright, if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. You can either unmute yourself or drop a question in the chat box.
so what I usually think is that there's always there's no right or wrong question, right? Like so there's you can always ask questions, And that, see, like I know a lot of people, like in the interviews, they try to see is that other person is talking, right? It doesn't matter, right? You can still we say in Sinhala, right? Vachala is fine, right? You talk nonsense and other things, but talking is very important, right? Because if you don't talk, then you will not be able to kind of like communicate yourself and kind of like market yourself, like, be a brand, right? Because end of the day, people who can talk, like they can only, I mean, you have to walk the talk, right? බොරුවට කතා කරලා ඒක වාචාලකම නෙවෙයි, but වාචාල is very good, right? So that's what we always think, right? So no questions, it's fine. Maybe Tarika, like if there's any question, maybe you can offline ask them to send us. Then we are happy to kind of like support anyone if required.
Yeah. Also.
So it seems like no question, right?
Yeah.
Lakshita, do you want to add something?
Yes, Targa, first of all, I want to request Mr. Indik and Manoj, they did the session really well, and it was really interesting. And I have a request for Mr. Indik. Like 2 years back, we had that devs workshop series, and I'd like to have it back for our students. I think it will be great if we can do that workshop series. I know that requires preparation and your time.
Yeah.
And it will be great if you can consider that.
Well, yeah. So we can offline discuss that, Lakshita.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So alright, okay, on behalf of the Computer Society of the University of Peradeniya, I would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to our two wonderful speakers, Mr. Indika Vimalasurya and Mr. Manoj Dharmaratna, for sharing your inspiring ideas. And this was a quite interactive session. Yeah, I think I'm right.
Yeah.
And of course, a big thank you to all of you who joined us this evening. Your presence made this session even more special. So let's continue to stay curious and stay up to date and keep pushing the boundaries of what we can do with technology. So until we meet again with another valuable session, good luck, keep learning and step confidently into the future of IT. Good night, all of you. Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Bye. Bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye.